It's the most wonderful time of the year, motherfucker. This podcast will probably go up around mid-December or late December, which is good. And that is kind of the point of this podcast. My favorite thing to do every year around late December, mid to late December, usually late December, I'll get more into specifics in a minute, is to review the year and to plan the next year. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today. This is Caleb Jones, and this is Alpha Male 2.0 Podcast, or the Alpha Male 2.0 Podcast. And once again, I apologize for the audio quality. I am in transit. I got places to go, people to see, women to do. Just kidding, sort of. So this is December, the end of 2020, which has been one of the best years of my life. I know everyone hates this year, but those aren't Alpha Male 2.0 saying that. Those are Beta Males and Alpha Male 1.0 saying that. As of this recording, this is around December 10th is when I'm actually making this recording. As of this recording, my income went up about 15% this year, and my investment portfolio is up 83%, which means I have almost doubled the size of my entire portfolio. And that is the second time in the past 5 years that has occurred, because that happened also in 2017. And that's on top of the fact that most of my investments are in boring shit that doesn't make any money or doesn't make very much money. And it's on top of the fact, and it is double on top of the fact, that I don't own any American stocks. I own literally no stocks in any American company, and I never will. I don't want to own stocks in American companies. So even with all that, I still almost doubled the size of my investment portfolio, and my income went up 15% or so, when a third of the United States can't even pay their rent. By the way, this is not unusual. This is a typical year for me. Matter of fact, most years my income goes up more. I've had many years where it was, over 100% growth in my income. This is typical for me. And the reason for that, or at least one of the reasons for that, is I plan out every year in advance. I don't just start the year and just wing it like most people do. That's fucking stupid. So here's what I generally do. Generally speaking, what I usually do around December is I will pick a date or a day or two between New Year's and Christmas. I guess I should say Christmas and New Year's. And the reason for that is that's usually a dead week, at least in most industries. No one's doing anything that week. Everyone's, on vacation or out of town. It's a week that's not a lot is going on. So it's a great week to take a day or two or three and plan out your next year, depending on how long you take, depending on how long you want to take. So what I will do is I will kind of pinpoint my calendar, and I will pick a day or two to actually plan out my year, to plan out the next year, and to review the year I just had. What I will also do is I will actually get out of my circle. This is what my dad used to call it. My dad was a psychologist, and he used to talk about the value of the human mind and the human psyche to occasionally get out of your home and do your thinking and or planning outside of your home, not in your typical zone. You'll get better results that way, and it'll be less stressful if you do it. So I will typically go to a hotel room, even if it's in the local area. I'm not saying I'll take a big trip. It's not like I'll take a trip, across the country to do this. I might just go to the beach, which in my case is 2 hours away from me, and just go to a nice hotel room. Or I'll go to a hotel in my local city. Or you can travel maybe by train 45 minutes to another area. Or sometimes you can go out in the country, rent a little Airbnb or a cabin out in the country and do this. Just do this when you're not in your home, in your normal typical office or desk or bedroom or whatever you do your work. Get out of your circle to do this. A lot of famous Hollywood people, directors, screenwriters, actors, when they plan out a movie or write a script, they will do this. They will go get a hotel room, either by themselves or with their collaborators, and they'll just plant themselves in a hotel room for a day or two and just bang out the script or bang out the rough draft. I have a friend of mine, I haven't talked to her in a long time, but she is a professional business writer. She's written like 35 books, and she will write books in 4 days, 4 or 5 days. How does she do that? Well, she's a typical woman. She's got a husband and kids, all this crap. So what she'll do is she'll plan ahead. She'll put this in her schedule. She'll have book writing days, and she will go get a hotel room, and it'll be in her same city. She'll just drive there and spend 3, 4, 5 days in this hotel room. And while she's there, she'll tell her husband and her staff, don't fucking bother me. I'm on book writing time. And for the next several days, she will just bang out a book, and she will actually write a 150-page rough draft of a book. And she says that's way more productive than just kind of doing it a few hours a day. Great idea. But she doesn't do that at home where she can be interrupted and where she can't get her brain outside of her normal day-to-day routine. She'll go to a hotel room and do that. Another suggestion I have when you do this is what I do, is get a hotel room that is most conducive for your high-level quality of thought. And that's different for every person. Some guys need to do this with no distractions. They get a shitty little hotel room with no view, and they just leave the curtains shut and they work because they don't want a view. I am different. I like to have a nice view that motivates me and relaxes me. I have a beautiful view of my mountains in my home office. As of this recording, just a few days ago, I got back from the beach with Pink Firefly celebrating her birthday, and we got a hotel room right on the beach up on a cliff where an entire wall of the hotel room is floor-to-ceiling glass. And so you just look and you just see the ocean. It was amazing. I love views like this. There are times, I've done this several times, I did it this year, where I will fly to Las Vegas, not to party in Vegas, but just to get that view, to work on a book or some content or business stuff or planning or whatever. I'll fly to Vegas by myself, get a nice hotel room with a really good view, because that view of the Strip, especially at night, but even during the day, the Strip, then the city beyond the Strip, then the desert, then the mountains off in the distance, it's beautiful. I love that view. I think it's crazy good. And I'll get the best view I can get. Or maybe I'll just go downtown in my local city and get a hotel room with a nice view across the river or what have you. So whatever it is for you that turns you on and or relaxes you so you can focus on planning out your next year, do that. Some guys like to get a cabin out in the middle of nowhere, out in the middle of mountains. Some guys like to go out to the desert. Whatever it is for you, go there. And again, I'm not saying go on a big trip. Make it somewhere accessible that you can just drive to easily. 45 minutes from your house is all you need. Just get out of your house. You go there during your date or dates in late December. I mean, and that's this is what I do. Some guys might prefer to do this the first week in January, and that's fine. Some guys might prefer to do this before Christmas in December. That's fine. I've just found for me, the best time is that week between Christmas and New Year's, because my favorite day of the year, and I've said this before, this is my favorite day of the year, literally. I like this day more than Christmas Day. I like it more than Christmas Eve. I like it more than my birthday. My favorite day of the entire year is January 2nd, because that's the beginning of the new year. But Caleb, isn't January 1st the beginning of the new year? No, it's not, because everyone's too hungover from New Year's, and it's a holiday, so no one's really around. So you could get work done on that day if you wanted to, but you might want to use that day to relax a little bit, and then you hit the ground running hard on January 2nd. There is something orgasmic, at least for me, about January 2nd, because it represents a brand new, fresh slate. It's a brand new, fresh year where nothing has gone wrong yet. And you have these 12 months to get all of your projects and goals done. There is something so exciting about getting that calendar. And I always get one of those calendars, either a wall calendar. I used to wall calendars. I don't do it anymore. Now I get the 8.5 by 11 size calendars where it's a dry erase calendar. You get dry erase pens. You can plan out the year. There's nothing like looking at that empty blank year that is yours to do with as you please. It's so motivational and it is so exciting. And that's how I feel on January 2nd. And I can't wait for January 2nd this year. I am so excited, and I'm excited every year. And one of the reasons that I choose that week between December's and New Year's to plan all this stuff out, to plan out that new year, is because on January 2nd, I'm still excited from my planning session just a few days prior. So I'll have Christmas, I'll have my planning days be a few days later, have New Year's a few days later, and then January 2nd, bam, and I'm all excited. Whereas if I did it around late November or early December, I don't think I would be quite as excited. Maybe not. Maybe I still would be. I don't know. But that's why I like that day. It's so close to my favorite day of the year, January 2nd. I view January 2nd as, I've written about this before. You know how guys line up when they're about to do a relay race on the track, right? And the guy fires the gun and they run, they go, the starting pistol. I feel like that's the morning of January 2nd is the starting pistol of the year. So it's so fun to get that stuff done. Also, and I've talked about this in my other content, my blogs, my books. The first few months of the year, from January to May, is called go time. And that's the best time of the year to both accomplish your business goals and your woman goals, both those things. So that's another strong significance of January 2nd. It's the beginning of go time. So it's the beginning of the year. It's the beginning of go time. The holidays are over. It's time to get to work. It's awesome. It's fun. Oh my God, it's great. And in theory, you should be all recharged from the holidays anyway. You should not be stressed out on January 2nd because you had all this time off, all this goddamn time off from the holidays. So that's another reason why that works. So anyway, back to what I was saying. So you pick your date or days that last week of December. You go to that cool cabin or hotel room or whatever, with or without a view, that's up to you. And when you go, you need to bring all your materials. So you need to bring your laptop or your tablet if you work on that, or if you like to think on paper, your notebook. I will bring my calendars with me. Any planning tools you use on your phone, obviously you're gonna have your phone. So I will do things like if I have any special books that I will be referring to in planning out the year, I'll bring those. If I have any other documentation or paperwork, and I'm electronic these days, so I don't really have a lot of that, but whatever that is, if I need to copy it to my laptop before I need to leave, I'll do that. I'll bring everything I need. I will certainly bring 1 or 2 or 3, in some cases, dry erase calendars so I can plan out the year. Last year for 2020, the beginning of 2020, I bought 3 dry erase calendars because I have a little complicated schedule. I have 3 companies. I do a lot of things. And so I have a launch calendar. I have a travel calendar. I have a lot of different things I got to keep track of. I like to separate those out on different calendars. Your life probably isn't as complicated as mine, but if it is, feel free to use multiple calendars. That's fine too. So you bring all the materials, you bring whatever you need, and you get there. And when you get there, the first thing you do when you're ready to actually start on this process is that you get settled at your little desk or wherever it is you're working. And it's important when you do this that everything else in terms of your physical body has been addressed. You don't want your body interrupting your mind as you're planning out the next year. So what I will do is things like, if I feel like I'm going to be hungry, I will eat first. If instead I want to use that planning day as a fasting day, some days I will do that where I will not eat on my planning day because I don't want that blood rushing to my stomach. I want that blood rushing to my head. I will do that. That's fine. Make sure you go to the bathroom, all that crap. Make sure that, you're very comfortable in your chair. If you think you're going to be really horny, and I certainly have that issue or blessing, if you want to call it, whatever you want to call it, I will have sex, like great sex, hardcore sex the night before. So I'm not going to be distracted by horniness while I do this. In other words, I get all of the needs of my body out of the way so I can completely focus on this. 100% mental and physical focus on planning the next year. That also means, by the way, that you don't want any fucking distractions. So if you have people in your life, a significant other, children, employees, staff members, friends, whatever the fuck, you tell them, don't fucking bother me. Do not bother me on these days. I'm going to be busy. Don't bother me. And what I tell my family is, do not bother me unless someone is literally gushing blood all over the floor. If they're gushing blood all over the floor, then you can bother me. Other than that, don't fucking bother me. I'm planning out my year. This is very, very important. This is also why I wouldn't do this with anyone else present. I would go out to this trip by yourself. Now, what I'm going to do this year, this is an unusual scenario this year. I'm going to take Pink Firefly to Dubai for 8 days during that entire week. And even during then, though, I'm going to do this when she's not in the room with me. She's going to have a spa day or something, and she'll be gone for the day, and I can do this on a day where she's not there. So do this by yourself. I have tried doing this, by the way, when you bring a woman with you or something, and it never works. You end up spending time with the woman or eating food or whatever. It just doesn't work. Do this by yourself. So once I'm all prepared, I will sit down, and the first thing I will do is I will review the year. I will look at the year and see how this year went. I will look at the goals I set at the beginning of the year. If I have any quarterly goals, and I always do, I will look at those goals, see how I did. So how did I do based on the annual goals I set back last year at this time? And did I hit those goals? If I didn't hit those goals, and often I don't, matter of fact, most of the time I don't, I would say I hit about 40% of my annual goals. If I didn't hit those goals, did I make progress on them? So let's say, for example, you set a goal, an aggressive goal, to increase your income by, 25% this year. And you look, you say, I didn't hit that goal. I missed that goal. Well, what, did you increase your income at all? Well, yeah, I increased my income by, let's say 16%. Great. You made progress. That's good. Progress is good. We're not pursuing perfection. We're pursuing progress. Like I talked about at the beginning of this podcast, I want every year to be an improvement. So as long as I clearly improved, I'm good. Now, if I increase my income by 2 or 3%, that's bullshit. I have to ask myself some difficult questions. Why did I fuck that up? If my income went down, God forbid, if my income went down and I set a goal to make it higher and it went down, then I have to ask myself some difficult questions. Why did that happen? Was it my fault? How was it my fault? What could I have done differently? Was it within my control? Was it an unusual year? So maybe you had a year where, so every once in a while you have these weird years where maybe in the middle of the year, you suddenly got divorced. And then 3 months later, your fucking mom died. And then 3 months after that, your one of your teenage kids got checked into rehab for drug addiction. And it's just a fucked up year. All these strange things outside of your control. Okay. Now, those years are very rare. Those are very rare occurrences, but they do happen. But if that didn't happen and you backtread on some of your objectives, ask yourself why and be tough on yourself. Jim Rohn, his famous quote, "If you are hard on yourself, life will be easy on you. If you are easy on yourself, life will be hard on you." I like life to be easy on me, so I am hard on myself if I really fuck up a goal. Now, again, that's if let's say I set a goal to increase my income by 25% and my income went down by 10%. I'm going to be really hard on myself. Caleb, what the fuck? What the fuck did you do? Why did you do it? How can we prevent it in the future? Now, again, if I set my income increase goal by 25% and I increased it by 15% or 10%, okay, that's good. I'm like, well, that sucks, but that's not bad. We improved. Good. My income goes up every year by double-digit percentage points, just about every year, because I make goddamn sure it does. So if I have a long track record, and I do, of many decades of my income going up by double-digit percentage points every year, that is fucking amazing, even if I miss the specific income improvement goals I have on certain years. Perfectly fine. By the way, I set a huge income increase goal for 2020, which obviously didn't happen mainly because of coronavirus. So, I didn't beat myself up too bad. A little bit. I beat myself up a little bit, but not too bad because worldwide pandemic and all the governments of the entire planet went insane and shut down the planet for most of the year. Okay. And considering all that, I still made 15% more money this year. Not fucking bad. But my income goal was much more aggressive than that, and that's fine. I also will look at, that's on the negative side. On the positive side, I will look at all the projects I got done. So I will look back through all the projects I got done, and I will give myself some very positive feelings about all the stuff I got done. And every year, I get a lot done. I work hard. I'm very organized. I'm very motivated. Every year, I look back and go, wow, look at all the stuff I got done this year. That's incredible. And I pump myself up about it. The more you see yourself accomplishing goals, the more confident you will feel in your abilities to achieve future goals. So if all you do is beat yourself up all the time, that you're constantly failing on your goals, it makes it that much harder to achieve those goals. So what you need to do is be hard on yourself occasionally, but at the same time, look at what you have gained. Look at the stuff that you have done that you actually did, that you pulled off, and feel really good about that. That's very, very important. Gary Vee talks about gratitude, stuff like that. Dan Sullivan talks about focusing on the gain rather than the gap. All these techniques are valid. You need to look at the year. What did I do right? What did I accomplish? Look at all the things I did. And I'll go through each month by month. Wow, January I did this. February I did that. March I did this and this and this. April I did that. May I did that. I just have this huge list of projects that I got done in the year. Very, very impressive. And I feel good about it. That was a good year. I got a lot done. Awesome. For example, this year in 2020, because of coronavirus, one of my companies, specifically my marketing company, took a big hit in income. That's why my income growth was only 15% and not something much bigger, which is fine. But on the good side, I'm going to look at all the projects I did this year. I just glanced at them the other day. And one of my big plans for 2020 for my Alpha Male 2.0 company was to do a new product launch every month of the year other than January. That was my goal for the year at the beginning of the year. And guess what? I fucking hit it. So if you've been paying attention to my Alpha 2.0 company this year, you may have noticed every month I launched something new. A new book or a revised book or a new coaching service or a revised coaching service or a new course or a new variation on the course. I launched a new something every month literally every month this year, except for January. That is 11 launches. Whereas before, my average was 2 to 3 launches a year. I did 11 this year. And so I just glanced at that giant launch list of all the stuff we did this year. I'm like, wow, that is fucking amazing. Look at what I did this year. Very impressive. Awesome. And it lays the groundwork for some amazing shit I'm going to do next year, even if coronavirus continues for the entire year. Because now, and this is true with you too, we can plan ahead for coronavirus. We didn't know about this back in January or February. We weren't planning on this, were we? But now we can plan in 2021. We can plan on exactly what's going to happen if the lockdowns continue, even for the rest of the year, which, by the way, I've said this before in my YouTube videos, that's what I'm planning. I am planning on all these lockdowns continuing into November of 2021. And if I'm wrong, if they lift sooner than that, great, I'll be happy. If they don't, I won't be pissed off and I won't be surprised. So fine, cool. So that's reviewing the prior year. Then you get to the fun part, and that's planning your new year. And this is the really fun part. Now that you've done all these things in the prior year, what are you going to do with your life in the next year? And Alpha Male 2.0 means we focus on our woman lives and our financial lives. So unless you are exactly where you want to be in your financial life or your woman life already, you should set a goal for each one of these things. So my woman life is pretty much exactly where I want it. I don't need to set any woman goals. I haven't in a long time because my woman life is on a scale of 1 to 10, it's an 11. I don't need to make it any better. It's pretty amazing. So I'm good there. I don't need to set any woman goals. But my business goals, oh yeah, I have those every year. Financial goals, business goals, physical fitness goals. You don't want to set too many goals. I used to set 10 a year. I think that's too many in most cases. I set just a handful. There's no set number. 2, 3, 4 goals is fine. I don't think 1 is enough, but 1 might do it. Depends on you, where you are in life. Like I said, generally speaking, under Alpha Male 2.0, you're going to have at least 2 goals, or maybe 3. You're going to have some kind of income goal or business goal, some kind of woman goal, and in many cases, some kind of physical fitness or health goal. That's a really good model, by the way. That's something Brian Tracy taught me over 25 years ago, and it still kind of works out that way often when I set goals. You'll set maybe 3 or 4 goals, and you can pretty much always guarantee there's going to be a business goal, a woman goal, and some kind of health or fitness goal. And again, in my case, I don't really set woman goals anymore. I don't really need to do that, but there is always multiple business goals, financial goals, 5 flags goals, and always a fitness goal. And they're always, always, always. So, but do whatever you want, set whatever goals you want for the year. And then another thing I do is, and I have a more detailed audio training on this at the SMIC program, joinsmic.com. I'm just kind of giving you the blanket overview here. But another thing you should do is map out go time. So map out the next 4 months, January through May. What are the activities you're going to take? What are the projects you're going to get done? What are the 90-day goals or 100-day goals you're going to get done over the next first quarter so you can hit the ground running on January 2nd and get excited about that? Another thing I do is I visualize the end of next year. How will I feel the end of next year when I do this again next year? So in this case, I would visualize me sitting down in December of 2021 and looking over all the stuff I got done. It's like, oh my God, I got it all done. Oh my God, my income is now this. Oh my God, my health is now this. My goals are now this. This is so great. And I visualize that as already achieved. I feel good about that. You have to use your emotions. You have to communicate with your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is the 98% of your mind. It's very powerful, but unfortunately, it's got the mentality of a 4-year-old. So you have to feed it in terms of emotions. You can't say, I make $100,000 a year and just kind of say it like that. No, you have to get excited. I make $100,000 a year and then I can do this and do that and do this. I'll never have to worry about this and that. And I'm so excited. Emotions, emotions, emotions. And for you more INTJ, robotic, introverted, engineering types like me, that's hard to do sometimes. You got to get emotionally excited about your goals because that's what makes goals work. And then lastly, you write out your plans. What are your plans for the year? What are you going to do? And I plan things. You can plan things by quarter. You can plan things by month. Everyone is different. Maybe you plan out the first 3 months in detail and then kind of sketch out the latter 9 months. Maybe you plan out the first 6 months in detail. You can do that. Another thing I do, by the way, and this doesn't apply to a lot of you, I figure out my travel schedule, my international 5 flags travel schedule. When am I going to be in which countries throughout the year? And I block out those times so that way I can set dates and calendar dates of other projects, other appointments I have throughout the year based on my travel schedule so I know exactly where I'm going to be. In about a week, I got to sit down and figure out exactly when I'm going to be in other countries throughout the entire year of 2021. And in my case, I'm going to have 2 calendars. I'm going to have one if coronavirus restrictions remain all year and one if they lift. 2 different possible schedules. So that way I'm covered no matter what happens. And that's what the calendars are for. You kind of map out those calendars. You can also put down projects per month. So in January, I'm going to focus on this project. February, I'm going to focus on this project. So what I did last year, I wanted to do these 11 launches. I wrote out on each month on the calendar the launch. So February, for example, I'm going to do the Focus program. In March, I'm going to do the Maximum Freedom course. In April, I'm going to do this and that book and this book and that book and this course and that book. Now, again, your business probably works very differently than that. Do whatever makes sense for you. I have 3 different companies, so I have to kind of map out schedules for all 3 companies in some respects. So again, I'm a little more complicated than you are, but I map all this stuff out. And I get all this done, wrap it all up in a nice, neat little bow. Oh, something else that I forgot to mention. I also look at my long-term goals. Before I set my annual goals, I look at my long-term goals. I look at my mission. I look at my vision. If I have any 5-year goals, 10-year goals, 20-year goals, I look at those, my long-term goals, and I set my annual goals based on my long-term goals. Never set a goal independent of any other goal. So your annual goals are derived from your long-term goals. Your 90-day goals are derived from your annual goals. Your monthly goals are derived from your 90-day goals, and so on. So I definitely spend a lot of time looking at that, my long-term objectives. And that's how I formulate my next annual goals. That's really it. In a nutshell, if you want more information on that, more techniques and more precise techniques on exactly how to do that, join smic.com. We talk about goal setting, strategic planning, all that stuff in great detail there. Lots of audio there. And you can also coach with me there if you need to. But I hope that 2021 will be a great year for you. There's probably 1 or 2 more podcasts coming out for me before the end of the year. But do this. This is big. This is one of the big reasons for my success is I do this every year. And if you start doing this every year, you're going to notice a difference. It's going to at least help. So do this. All right. That's it. Have fun. Talk to you next week. Bye.